It is now, what, 20 to 2 in the morning? Um, yeah, so it's quite funny, really, because I said goodnight to Vicky a while ago now. And I said to her, "Oh, knowing me, I'll be up at 3 o'clock in the morning because it'll just ping in my brain and I'll be up all night long thinking then." And here I am, fucking 20 to 2 in the morning, and I'm doing a video update for the channel. Um, yeah, so we've both been busy today. So she's been doing some bits and pieces with her family, and also she's been doing some research for me as well, looking at different solutions for the talking about. Look at this bite marks. Look, she's so naughty. Anyway, yeah, so she was kind of looking at different kind of solutions for the water pump issue that I've got, and I've also been looking at replacement water pumps. So I've been looking for water pumps that match my engine and come from my engine, and I managed to trace one down, a brand new one, which was in Sweden or Scandinavia or somewhere like that, and it was around €500, which is like extortionate amount of money. But because my engine is so old, they just don't make the parts for it anymore. So something like that is like rocking horse shit. But I say that she's old, but she's an older engine, but she was reconditioned and then put into the boat. And she's been in the boat for like 3 years, but she was reconditioned and she's a lot older than that, the actual engine itself, if that makes sense to you. So yeah, it's been really difficult to kind of source parts for it. So I know someday I'm going to have to replace that engine because I'm never going to get rid of April. I can't see me wanting to get rid of April at all. I'll do everything I can to keep her because she's my girl. But it'll be a case of like, I'll have to put a new engine in her at some point. All right. But for the moment, I just need to get her away from Wales. That's all I'm interested in doing, is get her away from Wales, getting her closer to me. And then I've got more time to spend with her and, go out and sail on her and stuff like that. So we were having a chat this evening, me and Vicky, on the video chat on WhatsApp. And so I can't remember what it was she said now, but it was just like one of those light bulb moments where just the light bulb appears above your head and it's like, bing, it just arrives. And it's like, no, that's not it. That's the light switch. That's the light switch. I'm talking about a little light bulb, like one of those when you see them in the cartoons. And it wouldn't be operated by that anyway. That wouldn't make any difference pressing that button. It would just it controls from the thoughts in the brain and stuff like that. So yeah, I had one of those light bulb moments. I was thinking, why am I even stressing about this when I'm thinking about this completely wrong? And that's kind of the effect that this girl has on me. She kind of makes me think outside the box a bit more. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Why am I thinking about it this way? Why am I? So we're not going to be going down the route now of actually getting a exact part for the engine. I don't need to do it that way. I just need a pump. That's all it needs to be, is a pump that is going to pump water. It's going to draw water from outside the boat. It's going to bring it through the water filter. And then it's going to go through the water pump. And then it's going to be pushed into the engine into the heat transfer and then pushed out the back of the boat. So it could be any engine. It could be any pump. And the only reason that I was looking for one for an exact part of mine was because I felt that it had to be run by the pulley. The pulley obviously attached to the crankshaft, so that when the engine's running and the crankshaft's turning, it's also turning the pulley, which then operates the water pump, right? But I don't need to do that because the pulley system on the crankshaft that runs the alternator is a separate belt to the pulley on the water pump that's also run by the crankshaft. So the crankshaft's got two pulleys on it, one for the alternator and one for the water pump. So it doesn't need the water pump being connected. So in that case, I don't actually need the exact same part that's failed, that's broken. I could get away with any water pump as long as it's pumping enough water through. As I say, it's got to be able to pump enough water through to keep the engine cool. And I was looking online. Like I say, I rolled over to try and go to sleep and, get my head down. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, you could be sitting there and looking on Amazon, Lee. You could be doing some research. What are you doing lying here in bed thinking you can sleep anytime? You'll sleep when you're dead. Get up and do something. So, yeah, I started looking on Amazon and I found loads. There's like loads on there. I don't know if you can see them properly, can you? But, yeah, there are loads of them. And it's like, they're seawater pumps. And there's like one here that I'm looking at now. It's a DC 12 volt. And it's pumping, 15 litres a minute. And it's 85 quid. And it's, 4.2 bar pressure. So it's the water's under pressure, so it pushes the water, right? Which is the important part, because I need it to push the water through the engine and push it out the back of the boat. So that is what we're going to be going with. No more stressing about having to find €500. No more stressing about having to find an exact part. I did manage to find one in Massachusetts, which is like, yeah, it's when I looked at the picture of it, it's a second-hand one. I saved the picture, I blew it up on my paint application on Windows and zoomed into it, and it looks quite corroded actually. So I'm probably going to end up in the same situation in about 6 months' time with that if I bought that. So that could end up just being a waste of money. So I was looking at different options then. So yeah, as I said, Vicky got me thinking about using an electric pump, and it's like So I found quite a few, and I think we can get away with that. Now, I've also got a video on the playlist, on our YouTube playlist for the channel, with John actually starting the boat when I went to go and first see her before he gave me her. And in that video, he uses like 4-litre bottles of water that he pours into the cockpit. Well, not into the cockpit, but he opened the cockpit and he poured it straight into the water filter, because it was filtered water already. And then that went through the engine and out the back of the boat. Now, I need to sit there and watch that video again and use a stopwatch and time how much of that water he puts into there. So I've got a rough estimate of how much water I need to be going through the engine to keep the engine cool. I'm not just a fucking pretty face and a perfect body. I've also got a good fucking brain. So yeah, it's a case of that's what I need to do. So I'll have a look at that. And then I can judge roughly then how many litres per minute I need the water to be pumped through. So this one here, like I say, is 15 litres per minute. That might even be a little bit too much. And I've got to be careful in some respects, because I don't want anything that's going to be too powerful that's going to push the water out through and start blowing hoses off, because that's the last thing I need, is to start blowing hoses off. So it needs to be something that's going to be powerful enough to pump the water through the engine, through the heat transfer and out the back of the boat, but not too powerful that's going to blow all my hoses off. And then it comes up with the second issue then, or the second part to this, which was, again, something that Vicky got me thinking about, was the 2 battery idea. And I know I've talked about this before, and I've thought about having this before, where I was going to have 2 batteries. So I'd have the house bank battery, which would run all my electrical systems, in respects of it would all, operate all my lights. It would operate my GPS, my navigation system, my radio stations, this and all of that, even charging systems for phones and laptops and stuff like that. So that would be the house bank battery. And then I would have a separate battery just to run the engine. And the alternator would then, I'd have split the charge on the alternator, so it powers them both, it charges them both. So that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about. So the question now then is, do I then use the water pump to run off the engine battery rather than the house bank battery? And that's the thing that I've got to think about now, because I need to think about this and think, well, do I do it that way, or do I run it off the house bank battery? Because what I don't want to do is end up in a situation where, for example, I don't know, I just, for example, I leave all my lights on, I leave all my things charging, I leave my laptop on, we're anchored up somewhere for the weekend, and I end up flattening the house bank battery. At least if that happens, then I know I've got my engine battery, just start the engine, it will charge it all back up again. But then I don't want to draw too much out of there and not put enough charge into it if I'm running a water pump. So these are the things that I've got to consider now, is the amount of charge it's going to take out of the battery compared to how much charge is going to go into the battery from the alternator once I've split that charge. So yeah, this is the way that we're going to be doing it anyway, and this is the way that we're going to go with it. So I'm forgetting completely about worrying about getting a replica, not even replica, an exact same part of the water pump now. I'm going to go for an external water pump, one that I can swap out if I need to, one that I can get a couple of them to. I've always got one as a backup, and then just run it as an electrical off the electrical system. So yeah, it was really like oh. So yeah, that's why I'm awake at like now. What was it? 10 to 20 to 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and yeah, my brain's all over the place. But that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. So we've sorted the water pump system in some respects. We've sorted the problem of pushing water through the engine. I can do that now because I can get an external water pump, and these ones are all recommended for sea as well, so I can use it for salt water. And that's the way that we'll go with it. Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Vicky Baby Girl. Thank you for letting me let me talk that out and use you as a sounding board, because I've now come up with this idea, and yeah, between us we've sorted this boat problem out now. So just need to get the part, get back down there and try it. As I say, I've got the video of John. I'll sit and watch that. I'll get a stopwatch out. I'll time it as well to see how much water he's putting in there over what space of time. And I reckon he was putting about 7. I don't even think he put 2 bottles in. I think he put about a bottle and a half in. So, bottle and a half, 4 litres, say. So that was, say, maybe 6 litres in space of what? Well, it was over a minute. So, yeah, I mean, I think I should be okay. So I'm going to have a look at that now and just go and do a little bit of research now. Because even though I'm yawning, because my body's knackered, my brain's wide awake, it's buzzing and fizzing away. So I'll upload this video now, and then yeah. So hopefully the next video that we will be doing I'll have a pump in my hand. I'll have picked it, sourced it, done my research on it, and I'll know which pump is the one that I need. So good night, everybody. Wherever you are, I hope you sleep well. I'm obviously not going to tonight. But I don't care, because I've just solved a problem, and that's made me really happy, because it means I can go down and spend time with my girl again, or my 2 girls, and get out into the water. So take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you again soon. Good night now. Bye bye.